everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Brett, and this is the Christian Rebel. Hope all of you are having a blessed day. Today is the first day of the new year, and I got a question for you. Are you going to make a New Year's resolution? Did you watch the ball drop last night? I didn't. I went to bed around 10:30. You've seen one ball drop. You've seen them all. So today we're talking about New Year's resolutions, and I was just curious, what was the history behind New Year's resolutions? And for episode 3 of the Christian Rebel Reacts, I thought I'd do something a little different and do a little history lesson on the uh, behind New Year's resolutions because started thinking about it last night and I was just curious. So I went scouring the internet and I saw this article on the History Channel's website. It is an article written by Sarah Pruitt. So I thought I'd read it and then at the end of it, give some Bible verses that we could talk about. So let's get right into the history of New Year's resolutions. This was a very interesting article. Looks like it started with ancient Babylonians. They started making they were the first people to make New Year's resolutions some 4,000 years ago. They were also the first to hold recorded celebrations in honor of the new year, though for them, the year began not in January, but in mid-March when the crops were planted. During a massive 12-day religious festival known as Akitu, the Babylonians crowned a new king or reaffirmed their loyalty to the reigning king. They also made promises to the gods to pay their debts and return any objects they had borrowed. Though these promises could be considered the forerunners of New Year's resolutions. If the Babylonians kept to their word, their pagan gods would bestow favor on them for the coming year. If not, they would fall out of the gods' favor, a place no one wanted to be. You never want to fall out of those pagan gods' favors. They may strike you dead. A similar practice occurred in ancient Rome after the reform-minded emperor Julius Caesar tinkered with the calendar and established January 1st as the beginning of the new year, circa 46 BC, named for Janus, the two-faced god whose spirit inhabited doorways and arches. That guy sounds scary. Anyway, January had special significance for the Romans, believing that Janus symbolically looked backwards into the previous year and ahead into the future. The Romans offered sacrifices to the deity and made promises of good conduct for the coming year, a New Year's resolution. For early Christians, the first day of the new year became the tradition, occasion for thinking about one's past mistakes. Are you doing that today? You think about your mistakes over the year and then resolving them and resolving to do and be better in the future. In 1740, the English clergyman John Wesley, who's a great guy, by the way, I'd read a few of his stuff, founder of Methodism, created the Covenant Renewal Service, most commonly held on New Year's or New Year's Day, also known as watch night services. I've attended a few candle lighting services where we bring in the new year. They've been really good and encouraging. They included reading some scriptures and hymn singing and served as a spiritual alternative to the raucous celebrations normally held to celebrate the coming of the new year. Now, popular within evangelical Protestant churches, especially African American denominations and congregations, watch night services held on New Year's Eve are often spent praying and making resolutions for the coming year. This is a very interesting article. Goes on from there. Despite the tradition's religious roots, New Year's resolutions today are mostly secular practice. Instead of making promises to the gods, most people make resolutions only to themselves and focus purely on self improvement, which may explain why such resolutions seem so hard to follow through. According to recent research, while as many as 45% of Americans say they usually make New Year's resolutions, only 8% are successful in achieving their goals. But that dismal record probably won't stop people from making resolutions anytime soon. After all, we've had about 4,000 years of practice making resolutions. Let me tell you a story. So get your coffee for this one. About 20 years ago, I made a New Year's resolution, and guess what? I've kept to it. I've not gone away from not doing it or whatever. I kept that promise to myself. You know what that New Year's resolution was? Was not to make any more New Year's resolutions. And I guess what? I've never made another New Year's resolution because I'm terrible at keeping them. But for me as a Christian, I try to submit all my thinking, all my ways to God. Is that a form of making a New Year's resolution by, okay, God, I don't know what you have planned for this year, but I'm going to follow you and do what you ask me to do. Let's go to some verses. It goes to James chapter 4, verses 13 through 17. This is about boasting about tomorrow, because sometimes we do that. Think we make plans and think we're going to do this, or make resolutions. I'm going to do this. James 4:13-17. Now listen, you who say today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business, and make money. Why? You do not even know what will happen tomorrow. What is life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Reminds me of that song, Dust in the Wind. Anyway, instead of instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. As it is, you boast in your arrogant schemes. All such boasting is evil. If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is a sin for them. So if you know some good that God is asking you to do, how about you keep that promise and be resolute in Christ and follow what he asks you to do? Are you doing that? Because if he's asking you to do something and you're not doing it, it is a sin, and we need to follow Christ and do what he says. Let's go on to my final verse, which is a great verse from Proverbs chapter 3, verse 6. And all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. So when you're making your resolutions and your promise to yourself, I want you to think of Christ, think of God, think of your walk with Christ, and submit all your thinking, your ways, your life to Christ, and he will make your path straight. Now, will those paths always be easy? No, they will not. Some of them will be hard and a learning experience where you can grow. So, are you going to make a New Year's resolution today on the first day of the new year? That's my question. I hope this video has been encouraging to you. It's been a little bit of a history lesson. And if you like content like this, good Christian content, please like, subscribe, and share with everyone. I love you guys. I'm praying for you. Always be a rebel and follow Jesus. Choose that narrow path. And until next time, I'll see you later.